A little embarrassing. You got a 15-year-old kid telling you how to mine, but he's got a lot more experience than I do.
How'd old Big Red finish out, though?
So, Mitch, this is your baby. We're going to put her to bed.
Parker Schnabel took a daring step that might make him rich or leave him with nothing.
Parker is sitting on top of the world. He has visions that he's going to make thousands of dollars every day, and I hope he's right.
This high-stakes move was all over TV, pulling viewers in to see if he'd hit big or crash hard.
It's a lot, and it's a lot for me to process. This is only the start of the battle.
As Parker and his crew dug through the freezing soil, the show amped up the excitement, but skipped over the real planning and environmental concerns. What happens if Parker Schnabel's risky bet on Dominion Creek completely flips his world?
And you need me to win the battle as well.
I need to be your biggest supporter here.
I think you'll have a good time here. I think you'll do well.
Join us as we dig into what this 15 million gamble could really mean for Parker and his team. Gold rush or financial crush? As Schnabel and his team dug into the icy earth, the danger of his venture was heightened by not only the monetary investment, but also the environmental impact, an aspect often overlooked in favor of more dramatic storytelling.
We've spent the last 5 years looking for a massive project, and we just got one. I should be stoked.
I feel like I'm in that movie with this prison escape, something redemption.
The show portrays him as a daring individual making bold moves, but it downplays the detailed planning and the crew of workers also risking their jobs.
What?
Oh, something's crawling on my hand! Just take some rock off the wall there. Come on, let's just get it done.
Though engaging, this narrative simplifies the complexities of gold mining into a mere plot point for entertainment, subtly encouraging viewers to ignore the broader environmental consequences and the financial risks for everyone involved. Schnabel's decision is portrayed less as a strategic business move and more as a part of a grand performance designed for TV ratings. The show focuses intensely on the immediate drama of will he or won't he find gold, while minimizing the real-world challenges of such an endeavor. This approach not only sensationalizes Schnabel's actions, but also skews public perception of mining by presenting it through a lens of high drama and personal success or failure. This bold financial move was a key moment in Schnabel's career in mining, presenting a chance to greatly increase his wealth.
Right before these numbers.
Right now, we're at 6,988 ounces.
Or serve as a warning of overreaching. The show presented the purchase as a smart strategic move, claiming that Dominion Creek could contain up to 80,000 ounces of gold. This was shown as a forward-thinking step, yet there was an unmistakable hint of taking a chance, maybe even pride. Schnabel's decision wasn't just a regular business deal, it was a high-risk wager made in front of television cameras, adding a performance aspect to an already uncertain venture. The program downplayed the complexities of such an investment, focusing more on the drama and the immediate potential returns, creating an image of guaranteed success.
There's some really good drilling in here, actually. There's a lot of bad ones as well. So we just have to be bang on, because if you put the pit in the wrong spot on ground like this, you go broke.
Viewers were given the image of a young, successful businessman who seemed incapable of failure. Yet the real world of mining investments is much more complex and full of potential risks. The real outcome of Schnabel's big investment in Dominion Creek, whether it results in a major profit or a loss, will only be revealed with time. This portrayal, wrapped in the excitement of a reality TV show, subtly encourages the audience to ignore the risky nature of such investments, simplifying what is essentially a risky business move into a story of flawless business intuition. Let's take a closer look at what really happens in mining beyond the allure of gold. High stakes, deep pockets, the Dominion Creek gamble. Moreover, while the flashy display of wealth and confidence might captivate the audience, it glosses over the environmental and ethical implications of large-scale mining operations. These ventures often lead to significant landscape alterations and can have lasting impacts on local ecosystems, issues that are seldom addressed in the narrative of quick riches. Furthermore, the emphasis on Schnabel's youthful success may set unrealistic expectations for viewers, suggesting that massive financial gambles are the norm rather than the exception in business. Portraying these mining exploits as just another thrilling adventure, the show fails to educate its audience on the meticulous planning and cautious strategies typically involved in mining. Instead, it champions a go big or go home approach, which might not only mislead aspiring entrepreneurs, but also skew public perception of what responsible business practices should look like. Such dramatization can lead to a misunderstanding of the mining industry and the serious dedication it requires beyond merely staking claims and hoping for a windfall.
It's one of the reasons I wanted to come down here, was just to learn how to operate like all these machines.
Dominion Creek holds an impressive $160 million in gold, but it's buried 40 feet below ground. Accessing this gold requires a significant financial commitment, as millions of dollars are needed just to reach it. For Parker Schnabel, the choice to put down $15 million initially was not just a tough one, but a risky venture. He faced a crucial decision: invest a large amount of money now, or risk losing out on a potentially huge payoff. This situation puts Schnabel at a financial crossroads, forcing him to decide whether the hefty upfront cost is worth the potential future rewards. Such a big investment up front highlights the expensive and risky nature of mining.
5, 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50.
The promise of gold might seem tempting, but the actual process of getting to it involves complex and costly operations. These include not only digging and extracting the gold, but also managing the logistics and machinery necessary for such a deep excavation. Moreover, the decision to dig deep into Dominion Creek represents more than just a financial challenge. It's a strategic dilemma. The deeper the investment, the higher the stakes. This kind of venture is fraught with practical difficulties, from the technical challenges of extraction to the financial burden of ongoing operations. Every dollar spent is a bet against nature's reluctance to give up its riches easily. Thus, while the creek's hidden gold offers a potential windfall, it also poses a severe test of one's financial acumen and appetite for risk. The cost of extracting the gold might balloon beyond initial estimates, turning the dream of quick profits into a prolonged financial strain. The allure of gold becomes entangled with the harsh realities of its acquisition, making the endeavor not just an investment in mineral extraction, but also a trial of one's resolve and financial wisdom. During a recent conversation, he openly expressed that investing heavily in new ventures or drastically cutting back on expenditures both involved substantial risks. As the season began, they were confronted with the challenge of making critical choices.
Yeah, they got us greenhorns building this pad for Lucifer, but there's no doubt in my mind these greenhorns are going to be gold horns. I think it's a recipe for success for sure.
These decisions were not just important, they were fraught with potential negative outcomes. A wrong move could be not just a minor mistake, but a significant error with far-reaching consequences. Every decision carried inherent risks, and in the realm of investment, these risks were particularly acute. There was often a faint hint of potentially significant rewards, yet this was frequently overshadowed by overwhelming fears of losing everything. As they weighed their options, it seemed almost as though fate was tossing a coin. The decision to either advance boldly or retreat cautiously was like navigating through a field of potential dangers. Each path not only held the potential for success, but also carried the threat of failure. Now, facing tough choices, every decision could change everything. Risky choices in crisis management. With everything at stake, the weight of making the right choice was overwhelming. Choosing poorly could lead to disastrous outcomes, potentially dismantling our progress and forcing us to salvage what remains. The burden of these critical decisions was not just heavy, it was crushing. The possibility of failure loomed large, threatening to undo all our hard work and leave us sorting through the fallout. It's a balancing act of the highest order, where the slightest misstep could tip the scales towards disaster. Thus, the tension in making these decisions was palpable, filled with both the fear of falling short and the hope of achieving something great.
Cool, I trust your guys' judgment totally. I'm not worried. And the gold will come. You obviously haven't lost your touch. It looks very good.
Thank you.
Just wish there was more of it, but we'll go out there and keep working at it.
The star of Gold Rush had seen his business grow significantly over the past decade, now overseeing a large team that depended on him for their jobs. He expressed a deep regret about having to consider reducing his team's size. "I would have preferred to lose money than to cut down my team," he confessed, clearly troubled by the thought of laying off loyal employees. His statement suggested that the idea of downsizing was more painful to him than the financial losses themselves. This wasn't just a matter of balancing the books. It involved real people with families who relied on these jobs for their livelihood. But in his voice there was also a hint of something less admirable, perhaps self-interest or pride. It made one wonder if his sorrow was as much about the impact on his staff as it was about the damage to his own status as a successful business owner. He mentioned that closing down the business entirely would be preferable to reducing its size.
That was terrible. That whole process sucked. In the Yukon, when we do this, we just walk an excavator up to the plant, hold it under the sluice runs, catch an excavator bucket full of dirt, and walk it over to where you're sluicing it. Bob was not our uncle today.
This choice of words cleverly painted him in a sympathetic light, as if he were a hero struggling against economic forces beyond his control. Yet, this portrayal seemed almost too convenient, as if crafted to garner sympathy and perhaps divert attention from any poor decisions that might have contributed to the financial troubles. While his open admission appeared honest, it also felt like a calculated effort to preserve his reputation during these challenging times. It seemed designed to evoke empathy and support, shielding his public image while he navigated through the business crisis. This approach raised questions about the motives behind his narrative, blurring the lines between genuine concern for his employees and the desire to maintain his own image. Shutting down his business completely seemed more attractive than trying to make it smaller, yet keeping his business running needed a lot of money. Schnabel openly said they couldn't operate with just a few people and a small piece of land. They needed a lot of space and a large amount of gold to keep everything going. They had grown too big to think about becoming smaller without facing major money problems and other challenges. It was somewhat ironic how Schnabel thought about the situation. As the business grew, it became more complicated and more prone to problems. What started as a small, efficient venture had turned into a large operation that constantly needed more resources to function. A slight drop in gold production or a fall in gold prices could seriously mess up their financial balance. They were playing a risky game where making more money meant they couldn't easily adapt to changes. The impact on the environment and the negative attention it brought was also a constant concern. Big operations like Schnabel's were watched closely by regulators, and people were becoming more vocal about how land and resources were used. Every move to grow the business was a gamble, trying to find more gold while facing more pressure to operate responsibly and sustainably. As the business grows, so do the challenges and risks, the real cost of gold. This mix of needing to make a lot of money and running a giant business, Schnabel wondered how long they could keep growing like this. He realized that finding gold, often seen as an exciting adventure, was actually a tough and demanding job filled with more risks than rewards. These challenges made Schnabel think hard about the future. Could they continue on this path, or was it time to rethink their approach? The idea of cutting back was complicated by the fact that they had invested so much in getting bigger. Every step to expand had seemed necessary at the time, but now he faced the tough decisions that come with such rapid growth. Maintaining such a large operation also meant dealing with more paperwork, regulations, and the need for more employees. Each of these factors added layers of complexity that made simple decisions much more difficult. Schnabel and his team had to navigate through these while trying to stay profitable. All these thoughts weighed on him as he considered the sustainability of their growth strategy. The business had reached a point where continuing in the same way might not be viable. The constant expansion had built a structure that was hard to scale down without significant consequences. It was a dilemma that required careful thought and planning, highlighting the realities of running a large-scale gold mining operation. The primary concern wasn't actually about the amount of money being spent on Dominion Creek. Rather, it was about the potential risk of dismantling the team that had been carefully assembled. The thought of disturbing this well-coordinated group was the greatest worry. This concern extended beyond just the possibility of losing a few employees. It was about losing the distinctive way they collaborated. This unique teamwork had a special synergy that appeared to make everything function smoothly. When asked if the $15 million investment was worth it, I find myself being rather careful with my words. Indeed, it's a lot of money, and yes, the risks are significant. Throwing terms like success or failure around right now seems reckless. This investment wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was backed by a lot of planning, which considered not just financial returns, but also the potential impact on our team dynamics. The primary concern here extends beyond just financial returns. There's a significant worry about whether the team's morale can endure the strain of such a large-scale project. Questions arise about the durability of the relationships that have been carefully built among team members. Will these bonds remain strong under increased pressure? Is the trust that has been cultivated strong enough to survive the upcoming trials? These issues are more alarming than the potential financial outcomes. The focus is not merely on how the numbers will look, but on the emotional and interpersonal costs that might be incurred during this challenging time. This concern for the team's cohesion and mutual trust highlights a deep consideration for more than just economic success. They need to wait and see if putting money into Dominion Creek was a smart decision. This waiting period isn't only about observing how figures increase or decrease on financial statements. It's more about observing how their team manages this difficult situation. They need to check if they can remain united and continue to work well when facing new stresses. This situation isn't merely a business project, it's a challenge to see how strong and united their team can be. The results will reveal much, not only about their money choices, but also about their teamwork and their ability to tackle significant obstacles. Parker Schnabel's into gold mining began unusually early, at just 5 years old, sparking a career highlighted by ambitious projects and a fair share of public attention. His latest comments on Dominion Creek as a long-term investment suggest a tactic to manage expectations and deflect immediate scrutiny. By declaring that the profitability of this venture won't be apparent for a few more years, Schnabel is playing a familiar card, pushing potential failure into the future, away from today's evaluations. Navigating the mining business gets even tougher as the stakes get higher. The glittering facade of gold rush dreams. This move is a common one in gold mining, where promises of future gains often serve to buoy investor spirits and secure ongoing funding, despite the unpredictable nature of the industry. It's a practical approach, as it allows time for unexpected challenges and delays, which are inevitable in mining. Yet it also acts as a cushion against early disappointments and sets up a narrative where any short-term shortcomings can be excused by the long haul ahead. Moreover, the romantic portrayal of Schnabel's early start and his storied rise in the mining world might distract from the tougher realities of the industry. Issues like environmental degradation, the harsh economics of boom and bust, and the unpredictable swings in gold prices get less attention in the face of a compelling personal saga. While the focus on his youthful enthusiasm and family-oriented beginnings does draw interest, it glosses over the hard labor, the risks, and the moral questions surrounding such an intense commitment from a young age. Parker's strategy of delaying profitability assessments also cleverly keeps his audience and investors hooked as they continue to follow his progress and invest in his ventures. It's a narrative that not only secures more airtime and financial backing, but also perpetuates the age-old fascination with gold mining. However, this can sometimes overshadow the real work and immediate results, focusing instead on what might happen in the future. While Schnabel's approach to discussing Dominion Creek cleverly preserves his and the project's image, it also raises questions about the transparency and immediate validity of such ventures. The extended timeline he proposes is not just about giving the project room to grow. It's also about managing the narrative, controlling how the project is perceived in the now while promising potential success later. This approach, while it keeps the dream alive, also serves as a buffer against the tough questions and hard truths that come with the territory of gold mining. By the time he was 18, Parker had left his home in Haines, Alaska, to strike out on his own. He moved to the Klondike and managed to get a lease on some land from Tony Beets, who is well known in the mining industry. Often called a mining prodigy, Parker quickly proved he had a real talent for finding gold, accumulating over $13 million worth before his 24th birthday. His success in mining wasn't just due to good fortune. From the start of his career, Parker made smart, bold choices that not only helped him personally, but also started to change how things were done in the industry. His search for gold didn't keep him in one place. He traveled to many different parts of the world, always looking for the next profitable mining spot. The story of Parker's career is often seen as a young man achieving great success early in life. However, this view might overlook the real risks involved in mining. Fans of the TV show Gold Rush praise him for taking big risks, but they often don't talk about the fact that every risk could lead to big failures, which are just as common as successes in mining. Parker's is indeed impressive, but the excitement around his achievements may simplify the picture too much. It paints a scene where a young person can overcome any obstacle, ignoring the tough, often dangerous realities of working in mines. The conditions are harsh and the work is hard. The story that gets told is one of success and adventure, which can attract other young people who might not understand just how tough and risky this line of work can be. This portrayal serves a dual purpose. It highlights Parker's personal victories, and it also acts as a lure for other young individuals eager to dive into similar adventures. However, it glosses over the day-to-day challenges and the very real possibility of failure that miners face. In an industry where the outcomes are as unpredictable as the locations are remote, each venture into new mining territories carries with it not just the promise of gold, but also the potential for great loss. What do you think about glorifying such hazardous jobs? Is it responsible storytelling? Like, comment and subscribe with your views below.